From the roots up. CIUT 89.5 FM. Toronto.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of CIUT FM.
It's Saturday morning. Welcome in. It's Bill and Jess King here on a great day. And the snow.
I biked.
You're lying.
Nope, I did it.
How did you do it? I thought about it this morning and I went, there's no bike lane.
Well, there is bike lanes. Some are more
Because
clear than others,
on
but
college?
at least they're separate, right? So, if I had to walk on or hit the sidewalk, some of the cyclists were on the sidewalk for portions. Where there was traffic and there's no bike lane,
Right.
Get on a sidewalk.
I was having this Ed Bickert fright days every day because Ed Bickert many years ago, the great jazz guitarist, he slipped on ice and broke both arms and was never able to really play again. Ooh. And he put down the guitar and then tried, and that was the end of the career. And every time I took a step outdoors since that snowfall, I kept thinking, I don't want to be a fatality, and I still want to play, the recorder.
Yeah.
So
there's still that big concert, Kerner Hall concert.
Kerner Hall with home recorder.
Yeah, just a man and
that thing where you shake beans.
Oh yeah, just
I
the two of them.
That too.
That's nice.
We got a special guest today. We're honored, Jay.
We're
is
blessed. A very long career.
Accomplished.
Yes.
And you both have much in common.
Yes, we share.
You both played fiddle.
Yeah.
Played fiddle.
Yeah.
In the house is Anne Lindsay.
Hi there. Great to be here with you, Jess and Bill.
Yes,
she brought a lot of joy and smiles.
Oh, sure did, right off the bat.
And CDs.
And CDs, too.
But the caveat was she had to ask, do you even have a CD player? You have to be particular about this now.
Yeah, and I do have one, which means I have one.
Yes.
Does it get used? Yeah, sometimes.
But you think about how slick that was for Apple. They were the ones that removed CD drives completely first. They just said, forget it, we're out. So they pushed the industry into this.
Something. Here's the problem with not having a CD player in the car. Your friends don't play your music anymore.
No, and
because there's like 3 CDs that would sit there, and they go, oh, okay, it's a long trip. Oh, we got to listen to this again. Yeah, but it's not bad. And they put it in, they listen to your music.
That was the road trip. I'm going to listen to the same one for 9 hours.
Yeah, I was listening to you. They don't say that anymore.
I had to do that with a 19-year-old playing Rammstein.
What was yours? You must have had a long trip CD player.
I still have a CD player in my car because I'm driving my car until it dies.
This is a 1983 Buick, right?
No. No, but I have sort of a rotating cast. It's where I get given a lot of CDs. One of the things I like about still making CDs is that you can trade them with people.
That's
right?
true.
So I have lots of other musicians, friends, colleagues that I have their CDs and I listen in the car.
The car is the best. It's the amphitheater. It's a great place to listen to music. I always enjoyed it, but I don't drive, right? And I don't listen to anything on a bike except the road ahead.
Yeah.
And what's coming from behind.
What's it whispering to you?
It's whispering, stay alive, stay alive.
Safety first.
I just remember when I first got like the iPod or whatever it was. Yeah. I remember taking that out on my bike and I had it on. I'm breezing along and I'm going, you could die quickly because you're just so bipped in the music, you forget that you got to pay attention to the road because you could pick up speed, right, and all of a sudden hit a, brimstone.
So they drop out of nowhere. They've been known to.
You've got to be careful if you're riding or driving and you're listening.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And so on a Saturday morning after this catastrophic snowstorm here, this is probably the greatest one of the century, right?
50-something centimeters came down within a week. That's a lot.
Yeah, and something I was thinking the first few days, this is fantastic. And then I had to walk places, and I went, this is horrible. Because they didn't clean the roads, they didn't clean the sidewalks, and that was near impossible, Tony.
Well, then they would clear the sidewalks and then redo the roads and push it all back onto the sidewalk. But now it would be just giant chunks. And I'm trying to watch moms take their kids to school
They can't do it.
No.
And you'd walk in the street.
It's a team effort.
Yeah, you walk in the street and it's going, I own this street.
It's a good workout.
Yes.
It is a good workout. You're using different muscles when you're walking through all those snowbanks.
It's exhausting, too.
It is.
But I
It's
think
tiring,
last
but-
week was the week that it was like 5 weeks and 5 days. That's what it felt like. It just every day was the same. It felt the same.
It was.
and
Right.
Are we
I-
still in February?
we're not sure anymore.
Oh God.
No, I'd look out my window. I felt like Groundhog Day. I'd see my neighbor shoveling their car out again. It's like, weren't you doing that yesterday?
The day before.
Yes, yeah.
And then they go along and they'd fine you. You get a ticket because you didn't move your car, and you look at the car, and the car is like frozen dead. It's
It's
like
stuck, yeah.
it's
It's under 8 feet of
it's like
snow.
a monument by now. You know.
It's been a week. Well, we haven't had that. I mean, somebody made the quip. I don't know if it was Chow who said, at least we didn't call the military. I said, maybe you should have this time. Let's get that out of there.
Get some extra hands on my street.
Yeah, man.
I was walking. I knew how to judge my street because it was near impossible because you punched yourself as you're walking. You're just trying to stay balanced. So every day I'd look for a little more clearing. Today I was almost got there to the
Almost
store.
to ground.
Almost, except there's this one patch left that is the walk of death.
Oh, the ice patch under the bridge?
Yeah. Near there, and it goes
Congregates.
Every angle is an angle that can throw your head against the wall or something. So, it's just something to watch for. So anyway, next week I think I feel certain a good portion of this is going to melt.
Well, we have starting basically today. It's going to be -2, and then forward.
Yeah.
4, 2, 3, whatever it's going to be.
Even rain in the forecast.
Hey,
right?
I'm like, bring it on. Anything that's above 0 is like a big win for us.
So, and he sends me an email the other night. He goes, "I'm going insane. It's me, a dog, and we're shut-ins." And the dog is just on me, near me, around me. He's needy, and I take him out 3 times a day. I'm exhausted, and then I come back, and there's more dog. And he goes, "I am really." He says, and I says, "Okay, this is the perfect time to
Not have a dog.
not have a dog."
Options you should have thought about.
Or perhaps doggy daycare.
I couldn't do that to him,
No.
Maybe.
Dog
You're
share.
talking sense
Dog
here.
share.
Dog share.
Dog share.
Just like cars. You share a
Well,
dog
there's people
now.
would take
Yeah.
it for a walk, Jay.
Or for the afternoon.
Yeah, and
Bring
then
it back
Then
tomorrow.
you go down there and get those wings
man.
without a dog.
Well, and what about grandparent duties? Don't
Yeah.
You gotta know when this dog comes in our house. We put on gloves and like an armor suit, because this is more than a dog. This is
It's a dog of love and chew.
he's got big fangs, and he comes in and he's all muscle and he's that, and he goes, "Hey, old folks," crash, and it comes to you, and you go, "Oh."
He's
What
still
kind
a
of
puppy.
dog?
He's a Staffordshire.
Okay.
But he takes about 2-3 minutes to settle down
Yeah.
because he's just jacked.
Yeah.
And it's a 3K walk. By the time you get there, you're like, I'm tired. And then you don't want to walk back.
They got teeth the size of his in the
shark-
the rom.
shark fang.
In the rom. They got them as you come in when you see those brontosaurus and all those saurus.
you could
He's
save
got-
them, make some jewelry.
See? Exactly.
Yeah.
Dog
I just
tooth
try to
necklace.
save my fingers for the next gig.
Well, you do that. You put your hand and go, don't chew. And you stick it right in his mouth.
Well, Jesse, Christine, she said right at the beginning, she says, "We got so many lovely toys." And she pulls out one, and in 30 seconds, there is no toy. There's not even fluff left,
No. His new thing is he's got his toy baskets, and I will put everything back in there. And 5 minutes later, he goes, no. I need them all out everywhere. And then it just shreds, goes from one to the other. So it's just, shrapnel and what's left of any toy.
And so, I don't know. Are we supposed to take care of it or take it somewhere this summer or what?
You're supposed to just take it.
Anytime you want
Bring
to.
it over. There would be like some kibble and a dog bowl and a note.
Thanks for the memories. He's yours.
Dad, this is a gift from your son.
Anyway, let's get back to the topic
Yes.
on hand of Anne,
Anne
who's
Lindsay's in
had
the
to
house.
listen to us ramble here.
I know, but that's good. She's she plays ramble. A lot of ramble.
Well,
and,
she did. She was like Jimmy Page and
Led Zeppelin sort of folks.
yeah,
And Roger Daltrey.
she's done a few things
Oh
here.
man, she's did epic stuff.
thank you.
Yes.
It has been a ride. It's been a great ride.
50 years. We were talking. You went to school in Deer Park for
She
their
said
music
60
program.
years.
Yes.
60 years.
Yeah, 50 years.
60 years playing violin.
The violin.
I started in the public school music system in Toronto at Brown School, actually.
I know Brown. Yes.
And then went to Deer Park and then on to Oakwood.
You went to Oakwood too? I did not realize you went to Oakwood.
You didn't see her
You
there.
did not finish. What?
She went to Oakwood.
I did, and I graduated, sort of.
They let you out? Now, did you have 13 back then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They got rid of that about a year or two after I left.
Yeah, because
Okay.
he went on to 14.
Right.
Yeah, I said, what's just 13? That's bad luck.
No, I thought it was after you decided you didn't need 13. They got rid of it then.
Yeah, they did. Actually, it was like the preparatory year for university or college, but it was like really, here's a few classes and just go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take sewing and typing
And Western.
Mr. Westerns.
Mr. Western's across the street. Smoking what was that, like a
Coca-Cola and smoking.
cheeseburger and pool.
Don't eat the food there.
Oh, no, you never ate the food there. But you hung in the neighborhood? Did you go around to the little cafes?
Oh,
and stuff?
sure.
Yeah. Did you have a
Yeah.
favorite there?
Well, I used to go down to Dorigo's. Do you remember?
Dorigo's.
Dorigo's was there, and I would buy things for lunch from Dorigo's.
I remember the name. Now,
Yeah.
there was a great restaurant, Italian, right across. All the teachers and students would go there because they had the best veal sandwich in the whole area.
I was vegetarian. At that
Okay,
point,
so you went for the non-veal.
I'd go for the
veal sandwich.
cheese, the nice Italian cheeses and stuff at Dorigo's and fresh produce and stuff
Yeah.
there. It was a great Italian supermarket.
Yes.
Now, how far away did you live with your parents?
Around Russell Hill, St. Clair.
Okay, not too far at all.
Oh, Russell Hill. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
good bike ride. I'd just
Easy.
bike along St. Clair. I'd save all of my money for TTC tickets and ride my bike instead.
There you go. Yeah.
So
That's how you made a living back then.
it's how
About
I
10
could-
cents or
it's
20
how I could buy
cents.
my vinyl.
Yeah.
Did you have fun? You must have had a
did.
good time in high school.
Well, I did. I was very fortunate because in grade 11, I actually got into a special program at the conservatory. And so I was on course at the conservatory. I'd only spend half a day at Oakwood. Then I'd go down to the conservatory and spend the rest of the day there. And I was doing violin and voice and piano and harmony, history.
How fun is that?
It was
Total
great.
immersion.
Totally, yeah.
It's sort
That's
of
good.
like it was sort of like the Glenn Gould is now, the
Yeah.
Glenn Gould School, and I got in on a scholarship, and so it really kept me busy.
Now, was Wishart teaching at Oakwood at that time?
Yes,
So,
yes.
okay.
He was,
Yeah, all right.
yeah, with his legacy of
He reigned for a good long time there.
Arranged. What was it? Alex Laurie? Who was the Canadian composer? Alexis
there
Laurie?
have been a few of them.
But she was one. I remember. I
We
remember,
played some of the contemporary
Yeah, you brought.
artists.
I remember you were practicing home on one of
Carmina
her
Burana?
pieces.
No, that's not her.
No, it was. I think it was Laurie or something like Laurie. And I remember you practicing at home the bass thing. On it. And it was one of the rare times I heard you practice at home.
I would practice, though, at school a lot
That's where
Yeah.
you did. You stayed there and
because I didn't want to
woodshed.
carry the bass
The
home.
stairwells were really nice.
They were.
They had great
Reverberated.
very
Yes.
flattering acoustics. You didn't want to stay there all the time if you were practicing scales because you needed to have the hard, dry sounds.
I was either in one
Get
of
your
the
intonation happening.
classrooms or the teacher's kitchen lounge there.
Right. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
Now, how did you all make out? Because it's a big sports school for basketball and stuff, so you got to deal with the athletes. And the athletes.
I did that too. I swam on the swim team.
You swam on.
you got in that little tiny tub of a pool there?
Because he swam too.
I didn't swim there.
Not there.
The pool there is literally it's
8
about
feet?
20 feet long.
It's not very long at all, but I swam hundreds, thousands of links of
Wow.
that pool. Yeah.
That is impressive. That you did
Before
that.
school in the morning, we would turn up, start swimming at 7:30, swim till
do
9. Yeah, it was fun. And then I actually had a gig the first year after graduating from high school. I had a gig as a swim instructor and a lifeguard at that pool for a little while. Yeah.
Nobody's ever drowned in that pool.
No.
You just got to dredge the bottom. That's all.
But you know what? Oakwood was a great school. There were
Yes, it was.
tons of people there. There was a large demographic of Italian people there, also Jamaican people. It was really colorful and lively, and a lot of great musicians came out of that school.
They certainly did, didn't
So it was a fun time.
You did. You did well there. And then you moved on, and you said, "Okay, I want to play in a rock band."
Well, that sort of started at Oakwood. Mitchell Lewis, great Toronto guitar player,
Yes.
if you know Mitch at
Yes,
all,
yeah.
was putting a band together for the variety show and said, hey, would you come and play fiddle with us? And I said, well, if you've got the music, you can show me, like the charts, I can come and play, but I'm a classical player. He said, sure, I've got charts. So we went and had a rehearsal in that teacher's lunchroom.
Yeah.
And I said, well, where's the music? And he said, right here. And he just started playing guitar. And he said, you know what to do. He said, you know enough harmony and theory. If I play a G chord, and then I play the chord on 4 and I play the chord on 5. So we started with really basic stuff.
That's fantastic.
Dylan and Stones and Beatles. And
Just hear your way through.
and one of the first bands coming out of that was with Janie Bennett.
Right.
And Mitchell and myself. We did music for Story Theatre there as well. Frank Trotz was a drama teacher there.
Now, she went to Brown, too?
She was at Brown with me too.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
what I thought.
So, it was a really lively time, lots going on. And that was where I first started getting into other kinds of music.
I saw, I remember Jesse's performance there with his punk band. That went well.
Yeah, that was a spectacular night. UNESCO.
Oh, man.
One of the UNESCO nights.
You know,
The irony is here, just talking about you play with Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, is we had prepped this really bad show.
Yeah.
And the band that played before us was a Led Zeppelin tribute band.
Right.
awesome.
This is the 80s, and they were just spectacular. The guy looked like him. The drummer was a friend. And as soon as I started playing, the entire hall was just up and excited. And I went, that's it, we're done.
And then you came on.
And it was just horrible.
Yeah, I know.
People went,
they
"Could you
pulled
just stop?"
Didn't they pull the plug on you?
He did.
Right.
He did, yeah.
Well,
What was the tune? What was the song you were doing?
It was about to be the classic Kinks, You Really Got Me. That was the highlight of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
great tune.
With acoustic bass?
Yes, German grip, too.
Well, we had a faux pas at our variety night too because Mitchell was playing banjo, doing an introduction to Act Naturally by the Beatles, and then I was going to join him on the fiddle. Started out, key of D, great fiddle key, lots of open strings and everything. He starts the intro. I come in, barreling in. He had put his capo on the wrong fret,
Oh, God, I love that sound.
which was he was playing in D flat,
Yeah.
which is probably one of the trickiest keys
It's
to
an
play
avant-garde key.
on the fiddle. Well, I love D flat now, but at that point, never having improvised
It
before,
was limiting.
not having any open strings available, I was like, what do I do?
And now you're on stage.
Good moment.
Yeah.
Good moment.
You and I-
Perfect for kids to taunt you with.
Coming up, I'm thinking all the things that were in classical music were like E. Beethoven, there's some B flat in there, and then there's Chopin. Chopin would go to 7 sharps, which drove me insane. So to deal with this, playing in keys that were like foreign, that you always went back with the keys you were comfortable playing. I just started playing in the key, and I would stay there for months. And one key that I hated. And then I get so used to it, then I come in and I start playing, and everybody go, "You're insane. Why are you playing in B?" Nobody plays in B. And I go, "Well, I do to and it's like with D flat.
Yeah.
I found that I fell in love with D flat, and it was so hard to play with when I was thinking C sharp.
Yep.
How we thought of it.
Right. Sure.
And how it all changed. Now I sit down at the piano and I go, "Oh, D flat." And
So now, what would be the difference mentally when you're looking at D flat as opposed to C sharp?
have
It's the
no
same
idea.
thing, but mental block or
I would say, I think of things in a different, I would say, I just think of it as warmer. D flat is a warmer
do too.
key than
Yeah.
C sharp. C sharp sounds sharp, a little bit more angular, kind of,
Yeah.
interesting.
And it could even, there are all sorts of reasons you might think that. It could even go down to the different shapes of a sharp or a flat. If you've been reading a lot of music, a sharp is more angular, a flat sign is
bit more
round.
roundy, yeah.
But for me, I think it's the sound,
Yeah.
which to me, it just
it
seems
sounds-
warmer when you think of
Okay.
D flat. I
All
don't
right.
know. What about you?
I have no idea. I've never pondered this one. This is why I'm asking.
Well, a lot of people think of keys as colors.
I do
Yeah,
tend to
yeah.
lean more
Right?
towards using the flats version of a key
Yeah.
than the sharp. I don't know why. Just,
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
In many cases, when you
I like
What
B
do you-
flat better than B sharp.
Oh, how about G sharp?
Yeah.
You go G sharp. Oh God! And then you go A flat. Oh yeah, I know that one. I mean, it's just a mental thing because in classical music you're playing in the sharps constantly, You're kind of there unless you fold into some Chopin who likes a bit of E flat and A flat, and if you get to the etudes and stuff, you'll go to E and A.
But for improvising, I think
Yeah.
the nature of the instrument that you're using is suited to certain keys. And so when I started improvising after always being a reader and a classical player, I realized that certain keys just were much easier to play in.
And what would that be for you? Say on violin.
D, G,
Okay.
F,
Yeah.
A, and then started playing with a lot of guitar players who really like E. So that's a little bit different on fiddle. It's a little. Also, I don't have any frets, so if I get into the really sharp keys, I'm having to play a little sharper on my instrument.
Especially as you go up the neck too, because the spacing just.
Yeah. But when I went to York and started doing the jazz course at York and playing with horn players all the time, I'm having to play in all those keys, right?
Yes.
That was a real wake-up call. Was like, okay, so now I need to get fluent in all of these different keys rather than just the ones I'm comfy in already.
That's all part of it.
For sure.
And we pass it, somewhere along the line we get past it. But it becomes mandatory because somewhere along the line they're going to play in all keys you never play in. Somebody's going to do it to you. You're going to sit there. I remember working with, it was Eddie Harris, the jazz musician, right? We're doing a concert. And I knew he'd do it. I knew he did everything purposely because he looked over and he goes, all right, I want to do this next song, the blues in F sharp, and here we go. And he put a tempo that was ridiculous. I went, F sharp? Nobody plays blues in F sharp. And then I said, oh, that's G flat.
It came back to the flats.
I just got
I got this.
Yeah, but I mean, people did that, especially the jazz guys did that to mess with you because they figured like you're not a jazz musician unless you could play Cherokee in every key, or they pick certain tunes. You had to play every key and do that.
But
and
even horn players get a little bit upset if they have to play in, an alto
What is
player
that
doesn't
key?
like to play in G major, for instance. That's hard for them. To just, the instrument doesn't sit there quite as nicely.
Right.
No.
I have a good one for you. I play with Jim Cuddy from Blue Rodeo all the time in his band. The last album, he said, Annie, I've written a tune for you. It's a fiddly thing, kind of, And I said, great, play it for me. He starts playing it, and I'm like, it's in the key of B. Like really?
My favorite.
And he said, yeah, that's where it sits really nicely for my voice. So,
Yeah,
of course,
you
you
have
have
to
that
adjust
with the
now.
singers too. And I was like, okay, great, yeah, let's do it. And, figured out a part that would still sound fiddly without a lot of the open strings. And it was a great thing.
Great challenge.
No, what
Yeah.
I would have said to him was, I really think your voice is changing. Sounds more like B flat to me.
Yeah, you just or
Yeah,
C flat.
I can tell that.
Yeah.
Just take it down a half step.
Because what were you gonna say? No.
Oh no, the album is coming out and it's SOLOWORKS, and what I'd like to do before we get to talking about it is listen to a track. So I've got 4 of them
Sure.
here: Credo, XYZ, Carolina Parakeet. You're going to have to explain that. And Votum Main.
Votum mane. Votum mane. That's Latin. Let's
Mane.
start with that one. Why
Okay.
not? So that is Latin for morning prayer.
Okay, it's you by yourself or what here?
It is. So the album is actually called SOLOWORKS 2.
Okay.
It is my second full CD of solo pieces for violin.
Okay.
Do you want
That's
a
a
little
lot-
preamble to this track?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Okay.
please. All right.
So 5 years ago, early March, first lockdown of the pandemic, I'm all alone at home, just me and my violin, isolating, and it's Easter weekend. And I think, well, normally we'd be going and feasting and having egg hunts, and people might be going to church, whatever. I'm here with my violin. And I thought, wow, I guess I'm going to be spending some time with you over the next few weeks, and let's do some writing. Let's write something. I thought, maybe I'll write an instrumental mass for solo violin. Masses are usually big
Yeah,
affairs,
yeah,
right? They have an orchestra, an organ, and a choir and everything. But I thought, well, how would it work for just solo violin? So this is the first movement, Votum Mane, and that became the inspiration for the rest of the CD, was that I would write another CD of solo pieces, which I was not expecting to do. I thought it was going to be a band CD this time.
I was at home, paranoid, and then I had to work my way out of paranoia.
Yeah.
Was this last week?
No, this was last week.
We're talking about COVID.
No, that's what I'm talking about. That first week of COVID there, she's writing a mess. And I'm sitting on the couch going, is it coming through the window?
I go to the the store, and I see the lady touching the plastic bags. I'm like, lady, don't touch the merchandise.
No, don't pick the merchandise, and don't buy it and take it with you. Have somebody deliver.
Well, I would say that praying maybe is a good antidote for paranoia. So in a way, it's a
there we are.
Morning prayer.
Anne Lindsay on the Bill and Jess King Show here, and Gloria Martin wherever you are. That's so lovely.
Thank you.
Now, these are improvisations or?
Sometimes my compositions come from improv.
Right.
This was pretty much like that. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the actual, construction of it. But,
You sort of
an improv that then got played again and got reworked a little bit. Yeah.
So my question for you is, where did you record it? That's the first one.
This was recorded at St. Anne's Anglican Church here in Toronto.
Where
So
she's
you have
going to
that
be.
natural reverb.
A gorgeous, gorgeous Byzantium dome filled with murals by the Group of Seven, sculptures by Francis Loring and Florence Weil, just mosaics that they put in the 60s that were just
beautiful.
Gorgeous, but the whole thing burned to the ground in June of 2024.
No kidding.
Oh, wow. So where would you be now?
Where would I be now?
No, you're playing a concert, right?
I am doing a concert,
On
so
the
I
6th.
cannot do the concert in the church, which was the plan I had.
Right.
Instead, I'm going to be in their parish hall, which is just behind the church. The church was on Gladstone, just north of Dundas, and now I'm in the parish hall on
This
Dufferin.
big old beautiful church. I know. I'm not that far from it. Yes.
Oh my gosh, just a Canadian cultural gem.
Yeah.
Really.
Not too far from Lula Lounge.
Yeah.
About down like
Oh,
Brock-
okay, gotcha.
Brock area.
Yeah.
And it's such a loss. It really is. So I'm doing the concert as a fundraiser for the church community, hoping to raise some money for them going forward.
Yeah.
They're still trying to figure out what to do, how to rebuild, and
That's massive fire too.
Yeah.
The
it
other
was.
question is for miking. How did you mic this? Because it's a challenge to be able to hear all the different notes, especially when you're going to harmonic. Felt like the
harmonics and
was-
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the acoustics were beautiful in the church. So Tim Vaisley engineered this. He did also no, he didn't do the last SOLOWORKS one, but I've worked with Tim before. He's done one of my other CDs.
Okay.
And we had mics that were quite close to where I was standing in the sanctuary, and two mics that were facing backwards and forwards, so they were getting room
Get some of the
and
ambient.
front.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then there were other mics further back
Okay.
in the church as well. And then when we came to mixing stuff, we could.
How
you
fun
know.
is that?
Get to balance with it.
Yeah, because I mean the reverberation there just is beautiful. So
Thank
I
And
was
it's just a
it
natural
is
reverb.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous space. It really is. A lot of choirs did concerts there.
Now, there's no mix of reverb. It's just the hall reverb.
That's just hall
Yeah,
reverb.
that's the
Yeah.
best, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. So anyway, Jesse, on the viewing front this week, well, I was watching Robert De Niro.
So what'd you think?
I didn't like it.
No.
I couldn't get with it. 0 Day. I love Robert De Niro, but you know something you're always thinking about? Oh, this is the new series on Netflix, and basically it's a conspiracy thriller centered around a devastating global cyber attack. You know, everything shuts down.
Got to be that.
Yeah. So
Is your paranoia coming back? Your pandemic paranoia?
no,
Okay.
you know, I could do the rest of the show on that one. You know, because I'm thinking the first week of that, or first few weeks of that. I couldn't even sleep upstairs. I had to go and sleep on the couch and open the front window. I was just afraid that, you know, it was coming through the window or living in a house. Because they thought everything you touched, everywhere you looked, it was jumping at your eyebrows and living there. So, you know, it was kind of bad for a while. Then I figured out maybe, we were separated for so long, right?
I don't know. It was a really hard time.
You don't think of that, though. Think of it now that, wow, what a time to go through.
It was
You know?
pretty crazy.
I mean, I got a lot of stuff done, but I know he got a lot of stuff done. We had no choice. I imagine you did the same thing. I just
SOLOWORKS 1.
SOLOWORKS 1.
SOLOWORKS 2
Two.
actually was a pandemic project.
Yeah. But there was a
Yeah.
lot of practice and a lot of other stuff that came about that we had to occupy her. And then you get to the point where maybe a year or so in, you went, I like this.
What was nice
Stay
was
away.
driving in the city.
Oh, it was so quiet.
Gas went to 68
And
cents
also-
for a time. And
I discovered all the parks, all the ravines. I was riding my bike a lot. So
Same here.
I would do epic bike rides and
Yeah.
go up to Highway 7, up the Humber, and, you know.
Beautiful.
It's gorgeous. You know, we really do have a wonderful park system here in Toronto. So.
especially down by the lake, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went out, it was in the March when things were shutting down. So about the second weekend, I went out on my bike with a camera. And I biked through the city, and I photographed. And there was nobody out there. And I went, I stand in the middle of Kensington. There's nobody. I'm photographing. I'm downtown and everything. And I remember just going down like Shaw, and there's a couple out on the street, and they look paranoid, and they're like covering their heads. And I'm going by on the bike, and I go, they ran. They looked at me, and they just took off running. I mean, that's where our heads were at the time, right?
Well, there's still a little bit of that.
No,
you
there's-
know,
there's
if you
a lot,
sneeze
right?
on the subway,
Yes.
you see people moving away.
Yeah.
I always remember the people that would be out jogging, and they would jog right next to you, just going, and Rita would just be like, oh, my God. Be like, why would you do that right now?
Okay, 0 day. You got my review.
Yeah, you didn't,
I
feeling it.
I didn't
That's
warm to
unfortunate.
that. What else was it? Oh, you got into, finally I talked you into watching 1888.
1883.
1883, yeah. What do you think?
Got hooked, watched the entire series,
Yeah.
10-part series. Just really well done. The character of Elsa, which was the young, exuberant, strong-minded and willed daughter.
Yeah.
She was just really was the thread that kept this whole show going.
Yeah.
Tim McGraw, Faith Hill,
They were fantastic.
great. Then dove into 1923, which is the follow-up with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
And some really very cruel nuns.
Oh, no.
This one just
There's
beat you
nothing
for
worse than a cruel nun.
Beat you. Then goes to see the head priest. I don't know what they call him, but he goes, "What happened here?" Then he beats the nun and then rebeats the girl. And he goes, "I have forgiveness, but no mercy." I said, "This is fun."
Well, the second part of the series starts on Sunday night. So actually, the
Second part of which series? 23?
1923.
No kidding.
Yeah, the second year. But it's what it is, post-Civil War generation of the Dutton family as they leave Tennessee, journey to Fort Worth, Texas, and join a wagon train, undertaking the arduous journey west to Oregon. The Duttons never on the actual Oregon Trail itself before settling in Montana to establish what would become the Yellowstone Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fascinating... You know, I love westerns, and I like them when they're like that, where there's the tell and where they're going. And Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford are fantastic.
Yeah.
What a combination of these two. So I like Yellowstone for like maybe first 2 or 3 seasons. After that, I didn't care about it, but these are far better to me than Yellowstone.
Donna, you don't want to live back then. There's some tough times.
You know, I often
Not
think
good.
of, and you know that there's always somebody. You know, you see the series or you see something where they're coming from Sweden or from Norway or Finland, and they're settling because they're thinking, you know, Minnesota, Montana are pretty much the same, and they want to make a new life in this country, but they forget about you're crossing bandit territory, you're crossing a period of time when there's just massacres and executions and insanity, just to get to this place where you might settle down for a few hours, and somebody's in your backyard ready to kill you.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just, it was a hard life for many people.
There was a lot of ways to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There sure were.
But for you were missing on a lot of viewing there. You would say, this didn't work. It was so. I said, I got to set you straight.
Yeah.
I set you on the long journey.
But I saw Reacher's back now, and if you're a fan of Reacher.
Did you go in?
Not yet. I
did.
got to get through this. But, it's not about the quality of acting. It's
No.
just all about vengeance.
Vengeance. It was good last night.
That's all you care about. You know where it's going.
Yeah, it was good. So Barry Manilow sues over missing $1.5 million, Jesse.
Barry.
Barry is missing from his 2020 contract from a significant portion of his catalog. How many times? Everybody goes, I just got ripped off and all that. The big stars really got ripped off the most.
A lot.
Because they got a chunk of money. I remember back when Billy Joe and all of them had like a class action suit against the CBS or one of them. And it was like for like $30 or $40 million. I mean, there was like this enormous amount of money that, they weren't paid, or, you weren't able to audit. You didn't really have a read on what you were making. We know what we make now because it comes up and it goes, oh, you just made $82 this month from SoCan. You killed again. We do get a readout now.
Yes, they can track these.
The collection's not that great because a lot of people just don't pay anymore.
Well, the vast majority of people don't pay anymore. But
Yeah.
interesting. So
Now, concerts for you, do you do a lot of concerts? When you do, what type of, are they solo? Are they with small orchestral? Are they with bands?
She's working.
So-
She's working all the time.
Because you work with Jim Cuddy, you've worked with
I
Blue
work
Rodeo.
with all
Rodeo.
sorts of people as a side person. Yes.
Skydiggers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Josh and Andy are good friends. And then with my solo project, initially when I started writing solo music, it was because I was doing a gig, which I still do, for Canada's Great Kitchen Party. Which
What is this?
Canada's Great Kitchen Party is a culinary competition, a Canadian culinary competition in major cities where all the chefs come out and they compete to win top chef for that
Okay.
city. But it's also a fundraiser for Music Counts. Are you aware of Music
I
Counts?
am.
Yeah.
I'm a donor.
Yeah, it's a great program. Gets instruments and software and stuff
kids,
into
exactly.
schools,
Yeah.
and also for Spirit North, which is an athletic initiative in Indigenous communities, getting sports equipment and trainers and
Yes.
mentors up there
Okay.
for them. So I do this with Barney Bentall and Jim Cuddy and Jim's sons, Devin and Sam, and we are musical hosts on trips that get auctioned off.
Okay.
So
How
one of
does
the
this work?
places that we would go often was to Tuscany. And there happened to be a medieval chapel on the property. And I was practicing in it one day because there were lovely acoustics. And the organizer of Canada's Great Kitchen Party said, well, would you consider doing a solo concert in here? I said, sure. And then I started thinking, well, what would I play? Realized that I had certain pieces from my band repertoire, because my first 4 CDs had been all just band CDs, and did a solo concert, and then started writing, thinking, okay, I could write more pieces for solo violin that would be more sort of my jam, my style of stuff.
Okay.
And so that would have been, the first concert was probably in 2013, something like that. SOLOWORKS 1 came out in 2015 with a whole batch of new original pieces that I had written, and now SOLOWORKS 2.
So can I back up? You were playing in Tuscany
Yes.
in a chapel.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound too bad.
You're ready for
I
it.
went to the Dollarama near me.
Did you play?
Not in
No,
Tuscany.
it wasn't Tuscany either.
But this is a few years back.
That's amazing.
You've
though.
been all over Europe. You've been all
Yeah,
over
but that's
France.
a different kind of thing.
you have no complaints.
Actually, the picture on the back of SOLOWORKS 2 was taken last year in Tuscany, also on a Canada's Great Kitchen Party
Fun.
trip.
Now, did you come late to writing your own music? Having gone through classical and worked with all the different bands?
I think I wrote a string quartet when I was 12 or something like that. But, I never really got totally into writing classical music. But I did start writing as soon as I started improvising and writing singer-songwriter stuff. Had bands where I was singing some of my original material. And then had 3 sons and was very busy freelancing at a time when Toronto was bustling for freelancers, both in the studios and on the stage, whether it was in clubs or whether it was with orchestras, because there were a number of different freelance orchestras in town at that time too. Very busy, and I had tunes that just sat on the shelf for about 10 years. And then as the boys got older, I thought, it's time to do a solo CD. So I started with Eavesdropping and then went on, and this is now my 5th.
Fantastic.
And where are the boys at?
Where are the boys at? Tosh lives here in Toronto, and he still occasionally plays his saxophone and he occasionally fools around with his beat production because he was a hip-hop guy.
Okay.
But he's a lawyer at Torrey's down on Bay Street and has 2 little grandbabies of mine. So that's
yours.
very
I
fun.
like how you phrase that. He's got 2 babies of mine.
Grandbaby.
Well, and Jesse, I have a Jesse too.
Okay.
He lives in Whitehorse, and
Oh, my God.
he has my grand Kitty. And then,
His dad's in Whitehorse.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
He was just down here last
Calvin's
week
dad was
visiting.
here last week.
Oh, I love Whitehorse. I really do. I go there a lot. And I love the arts community there. It's so supportive. Yeah. And my grand Kitty and my son and his wife live there. So,
That's 2 of
and
them.
then the third one, Luke, lives in Smithers, BC.
Okay.
Northern BC.
How does a mom handle this, though?
Oh, it's very hard having them far
I hear
away.
it at my house every day. It was, and he's only a few blocks away.
Right.
She goes, "Oh, I haven't heard from my son.
It's very hard.
No,
Thank
I
goodness
haven't
we
heard from
have
my 3 sons."
we have technology, and we have, we can FaceTime. We're actually going on a ski trip to Nelson, BC, in a couple of weeks after the CD
Oh my
release.
goodness, with mom.
And so, and I get out there a lot because I'm traveling all the time playing gigs, and so I'll get to Vancouver and then I'll scoot up to Whitehorse. Whitehorse, I've actually done a bunch of shows there, and Smithers has a huge population of fiddlers.
Isn't that great?
And so I've gone there and done workshops and concerts. There's a festival there every summer. So, yeah.
You should think about taking Jesse's dog with you.
Oh, no, my grand puppy is in
Oh, the
Smithers.
grand what we need to do is that coming March 1st to the Redwood Theater is Jack de Kaiser. And this is almost sold out. So let's hear a little Jack de Kaiser, and we'll play some more Anne in just a little while, right here on the Bill, Jesse, and Gloria Martin Show.
I'm loving, all the kiss I miss kissing. All the love I miss loving, all the kiss I miss kissing. Until I met you, baby, I didn't know how I'm missing. All the love, baby, I have in store for you. Baby, I have in store for you. You know that I love you, girl. I hope you love me too. miss a loving. All the kiss I miss kissing. All the love I miss a love. All the kiss I miss kissing. Until I met you, baby, I didn't know what I was missing.
The amazing Jack DeKaiser coming to the Redwood Theater March 1st. Get your tickets at theredwoodtheater.com. Let's just follow up on this White Horse thing. We were both talking about that, and I played with Ronnie Hawkins in 1983, and it was a hilarious flight there because I really didn't know him great before, but he just says, come and sit with me. So we're on the plane, and we're flying across, and he's going, Bill, when we get there, they got fish the size of mountains. We're going fishing, and, they got sharks, and they got everything. And we're going to do that, Bill, and we're going to do this and that. And we hit an air pocket, and there was somebody drinking a coffee in front of us. And we hit an air pocket, and the plane dropped really quick. And the fluid was in the air, and the cup was here. And then all of a sudden, the fluid catches up with the cup like that. And we both of us looking at it and going, he goes, my God, the Lord saved us, Bill. The Lord saved us. I know what, that's great. So we get the White Horse. He goes to his room, and I'm thinking, we're going to get out and go, panning for gold, do all these things. So he goes to his room, and he comes back, and he goes, not today, Bill. They got Gilligan's Island on cable. And he stayed and watched.
Just don't miss TV.
It's just don't miss. And he says, they got reruns. And I went, okay, I'm on my own. But it's a beautiful place.
It is a gorgeous
and
place.
you had mentioned that we played a place called the Sleuth Box, which was a bar with a lot of activity going on there.
Oh, yes.
We were rocking and rolling. So
in those days, it was a pretty wild
It was
West
wild,
town.
wasn't it?
You had the chicken mesh wire.
Oh,
on
not
front
in
of the-
Whitehorse, but
Okay.
here in Toronto, actually.
You had that-
West
Oh, yeah,
End,
yeah.
Toronto, one of the first bands that I played with.
Yeah.
4 Aussie guys and me.
I like
Yeah.
the name of the band.
Yeah, that's a good.
Greg Quill,
Yeah.
Greg Quill's band, and we had to come up with a name for it, and we all sort of threw names into the hat, but what we settled on was Hot Knives.
Hot knives.
I can imagine what you
We've
were
been
doing.
talking about
So
hot
this is
knives
me.
lately.
So
Why
I
this
think
keeps coming up?
I was 18 or 19 at the time, I guess, like fresh out of high school, and fairly sheltered upbringing. Spent a lot of time at the conservatory, sort of lower Forest Hill upbringing, and
Right.
I was rocking out with Hot Knives in the West End somewhere with a beer cage in front of the stage, so that if people threw beer bottles, it would
That's
hit.
Jeff Healy and Roadhouse.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that actually happened.
Well, you know what happens though?
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze just wipes them all up. He mops up the floor with them. He'll do that anywhere.
It was a tough guy. I saw that a lot down in Georgia and down in the South. That was
believe that.
that was like, something. When you grow up a certain way and you go to school and you have the education in music, and then you're put in a pen with a bunch of lunatics, and you're on stage and you don't relate, and they're going about just swilling everything, spitting everywhere, throwing everything, punching everybody, and you look at it and you go, why am I here? Why can't I go play some more Chopin?
$5. That's why you were there.
Yeah, that was that $5 night.
And a questionable safety.
Yeah, it was scary.
Yeah.
But we don't do those gigs anymore. No, they took them away from us. I want to hear more of your music. What do you want to play here? You've got XYZ, Carolina Parakeet.
You were curious about Carolina Parakeet.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about it.
Okay.
This was a tune that I was fooling around with, more of a fiddly type tune, a bit of an Appalachian style.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said to me the other day, is it Appalachia
It's
or
Appalachia.
Appalachia?
Appalachia.
Appalachian style
Yeah, yeah.
tune. How's that?
That's
Did
good,
I make
good.
that correction?
You got it right.
Okay, I'll have to remember that for
Yeah.
the reams of radio interviews I'm doing for this release. And so the style was there already, and I have a very favorite author, Barbara Kingsolver, who is from Appalachia.
Sure.
And she writes a lot about that area, and historically and modern day. In fact, her latest book, Demon Copperhead, is all about, fentanyl problems and drug
I could
use.
tell you
And
all about that area.
I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
So the Carolina parakeets were birds that lived in Appalachia. There were tons of them, huge flocks of them. But due to deforestation and loss of habitat for their nesting, and also hunting, because they were valued for these beautiful, colorful feathers that they had that people liked to decorate their hats in the 1800s with, the parakeets became fewer and fewer and fewer. Interestingly enough, they fed on cockaburs, thistles, and kept that species of wildlife under control because they fed on them. As the parakeets became extinct, the thistles started becoming invasive and taking off and ruining agriculture opportunities in the area. So all that to say, it's really just a little funky fiddle tune. And after we recorded it, Tim, my engineer, said, I'm kind of hearing some percussion on this. And I was like, well, I don't know. It's a solo CD. I don't know if I can do that. And he was like, well, do you know Mark Mariash? And I was like, yeah. I've worked with Mark. He's learned all my tunes before. He's great. He said, let's just send him the track and see what he comes up with. So he certainly came up with a few things.
Here it is, Anne Lindsay.
Great job.
Thank you.
The percussion elements really helped. The stomp.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Those are blundstones.
See? They needed something with a thick heel.
So, big performance coming up.
Yes. Did you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, please.
I'll be performing.
Oh, you'll be performing. No,
Actually,
Anne
no,
is performing.
Oh, yeah, all right.
You talk
No,
about it.
you can tell us what you're
I got
doing.
nothing. What are you doing?
Well, you heard she's playing her concert on the 6th, March 6th.
Yes.
Yes.
March 6th at St. Anne's Parish Hall, a fundraiser for St. Anne's Anglican Church that burned to the ground
Down on
last June.
Dundas.
Yeah, 7:30 start. And come and join us. Looking forward to it.
It's great having you as a guest.
Thank you so
I'm glad
much.
you did this.
Well, thank you for the invitation. It's
And
always
the
fun. to
new
get
CD.
together.
Where can people find out more about your music?
Okay, I like to sponsor Bandcamp, which
Love
is
Bandcamp.
It's the
a
best.
great site. So
Yeah.
go to Bandcamp. You can get all my stuff there. You can also look at my website, which is anne-lindsay.com. And I'm up on all the usual
Get all those socials.
raiders of the...
Yeah. Just think,
I'm also on Spotify and Apple
it's a
and
good
all that
it's a
stuff
good
too.
week
Yeah.
to be Canadian too, especially after that victory the other night.
Yeah.
That
Hockey.
yeah, the hockey victory.
Hockey.
Yeah.
Hockey.
How do you feel after that? Did your blood pressure go up?
I felt good about it.
Yeah, you felt like a
I like the first
Oakwood
game.
alumni.
It was like 3 fights in 9 seconds. That kind of
first
that
game.
made me proud.
You felt a little different in the second
So
game.
we won. That was a different kind of thing.
That,
but-
that was fantastic, and it has really carried over nicely. I think a lot of things in play there. The spirit of Canadians, they all woke up out after that COVID deep freeze and going, "Oh, we are we."
We love Canada.
We love Canada. We
Absolutely.
love
And I
being
saw
there.
you're going tonight to these.
Yeah, I'm going to
It's
the Red
sold
Road.
out.
Yeah, it's sold out
I just
tonight.
saw that, yeah.
And then next week, Jack de Kaiser, and then we got coming up Jay Douglas and.
Which caught his movie Play It Loud that was on TV
What do you think? It
last
was-
week.
wasn't it
I
good?
thought it was terrific. When you
Yeah.
look at the body of work for a lot of the very well done documentaries, this was right up there.
It was really well done. And
Just the
cinematography,
recreations,
everything.
the filming, the lighting, everything, and the storytelling. It kept you engaged the entire time. So congratulations to the whole team, and Jay and Pablo and everybody.
Okay, let's go out on some more music of Anne Lindsay. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, Jesse, everybody, and Calvin, and all.
Yeah.
We'll see you again next week.
Next week.
Okay. Thank
All right.
you.